You're listening to 2 Cents Podcast.
And welcome back to the 2 Cents Podcast. I'm Jose. You're back with me today. You can hear me. I'm sure you can actually hear me. So thank you for being with us here for another episode of the 2 Cents Podcast. And as you probably already have seen, it's a big week for us here. We've been having a lot of episodes so far. This is, I think, going to be the second episode this week, I believe. I don't think there's another episode coming out besides this one. But yeah, so thank you for joining us for another episode. I think, like I said, I was mentioning this is going to be episode, let me make sure, this is episode 7. So you had an episode yesterday, and then you also should have 2 episodes, one episode coming out tomorrow, and then an episode coming out on Halloween. I think if everything goes good, that's what's supposed to happen. Again, if everything goes good, that's what's supposed to happen, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm recording this, and then hopefully I get to record the other ones, because knowing me, I might not get to record the other ones. So anyway, let's get started with today's episode. We want to do a quick intro for you today so we can spend more time on the episode, because we got a little bit of a longer one, I guess. We are going to be, it's spooky season, I guess, so we're going to be getting into hearing some of the scary stories that you would hear, kind of like some scary stories that we're going to be reading in right now. Hopefully my audio is not too loud. I'll fix that later in post, but you would probably even didn't notice it. But we're going to be reading some scary stories today. We're going to be listening to Mr. Nightmare. I liked hearing, I don't hear him as much anymore, or not listen to his videos as much anymore. I would hear his videos all the time, and just like watch them. Sometimes at work I would have it on, because it's kind of like a podcast. So we're basically a podcast that's listening to another podcast. But I'm going to be giving you my 2 cents as we're reading the stories, and kind of just see what these stories have. It's the video is called 3 More True Disturbing Dead of Night Stories. So these are pretty interesting ones. I saw the first one. I started listening to the first one, so we're going to listen to the rest of them. But, well, I mean, we're going to listen to the first one too. But I listened to the first one just to see where this video was going, and it was pretty, I was getting to it be pretty scary so far. I didn't finish hearing it. So once I started being like, okay, we're going to get to the meat of the story, let me stop right here before I get spoiled that. But I saw the first few, I saw where it was going. I'm like, okay, that's good then. So let's get started with the first story. We are over our time, so we'll get started with our first story, and then we'll come back to that. So let's get started with that first story, and let's start listening to Mr. Nightmare. The link for the full video will be down below, so I recommend you do check it out, because I'm going to keep pausing it throughout the story, so you might not be hearing it as much, but let's go ahead and listen to the first story.
My name is Patrick McCabe. I've always had really
Hey, Patrick.
messed up teeth growing up, like atrociously bad. Due to that and a few other things, I got my wisdom teeth out really late in life. Most people who undergo the process get them out sometime in high school or at the very latest early into their college years, but I was different. I didn't even sit down for a consultation until after graduating college. The process was incredibly painful and one of the most irritating things I've gone through in my entire life.
Well, let me first start. I have not had my wisdom tooth taken out yet, and I don't plan to do that, but I know that one day I'm going to have to. But as of right now, I'm 22 years old and have not had my wisdom tooth taken out. I still have 4 of them, I guess. I think they already came out, but it didn't hurt. So it either hurt, and I was probably more like, because I've heard that it's like very painful and everything. And also you get put on that like laughy gas, is that what it's called? I don't know what it's called. But it's that, whatever that gas is called. And I'm basically like, I don't know what I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? I feel like it's always like, you always see those videos and it's the most embarrassing videos of people. And I'm like, yeah, let's not make a fool of ourselves, even more than we already do. So I'm like, I'm not ready for that yet. Let me wait a couple years before I'm like more comfortable with making a fool of myself with that laughy gas. But I haven't gotten them taken out. My dentist hasn't said anything either, so we're good. But again, it hasn't hurt me. The pain for the teeth hasn't hurt me, so I haven't gotten to take them out. and I don't plan to yet. But I think right now, so far, I don't have to worry about it until it starts hurting, and I hope it does not. Because when it starts hurting, that's when I'm gonna have to worry about it, and then like start thinking about getting them taken out. But as of right now, it doesn't hurt, and I'm not gonna get them out yet. Like I said, they came out already, like by themselves. So I don't know if maybe they might have come out, and then as they were coming out, it was hurting me, but I just ignored it, so I didn't have to take them out. But I'm not sure. Let's continue on.
I'm not going to bore you with all the details about my recovery, but there is something you need to know. For whatever reason, the pain I was experiencing was so bad that I couldn't sleep through the night without taking pain medication. I developed this system where I would wake myself up every 3 hours to take another pill, cycling between the 2 medications I'd been prescribed. It was awful, but it was the only thing I could do to prevent these massive toothaches that would quite literally have me in tears. It should go without saying that my sleep schedule was downright awful during that period. My body started getting used to 3-hour cycles of sleep, followed by periods of being awake, and it was difficult to return to normal even after my recovery was over. That was honestly the worst part. The sleep. It was...
I can imagine, because, yeah. As of right now, I don't really get a lot of sleep anyway, so I guess I would be going through the same thing. But again, I don't want to take my wisdom tooth out. I didn't even know that sleep would have been affected, but I guess that's also something that gets affected.
Not normal, I'm telling you. I didn't even feel human after a while. It was like I had become something else, constantly waking up and going back to sleep. I don't even want to think about it. One night, I'm pretty sure it was during the first week of recovery, I was up at like 4 a.m. to take my meds again.
That's usual when I'm going to sleep. It's bad.
For whatever reason, I couldn't fall back asleep afterwards. I don't know if it was because of my condition or because the AC had stopped working, but it was really hot in my room, way hotter than usual. I remember tossing and turning for like 10 minutes before deciding I had to do something about the heat. The only thing I could think of was to open my bedroom window, which I did. That helped a little bit, but I still couldn't sleep. So there I was, lying there miserably in bed, praying with every fiber of my being that I just fall asleep. But of course, I didn't. At one point, I started picking up on this strange noise coming from outside my window. I never slept with my window open, so at first, I figured it was just some normal outside sound that I wasn't used to hearing. But the more I listened, the more I got the feeling that it wasn't a normal sound. It sounded almost like scratching, as if some kind of animal were dragging its claws on something.
I live on a second floor, then a second floor apartment, and so whenever we go to sleep, I leave the window open, because like we're on the second floor, so it's like the risk of someone getting in through the window is very, very slim to none. So I don't think if I would live on the first floor, I don't know if I would leave the window open. I don't think I could not be sleeping with the window open. There's no way I would be able to do that. It would be too scary for me, to be honest with you, because like even like leaving the window open, just like, I know there's like a little bit of a net or whatever it's called, whatever that thing is, like the thing so like the bugs don't get in, so that's okay. But I'm not scared of like, I don't think a human would get in, but what if an animal gets in while I'm sleeping? That's what I'm more scared of, right? So, I don't know. I would not leave the window open either.
The best way I can describe it. At one point, the noise got louder, and I realized it sounded like it was coming from above me, from the roof. And then, a few seconds later, the noise started moving above me, gradually fading out of earshot. I was pretty positive at that point that it was some kind of critter messing around on the roof. My family lives in a woodsy area, so we've had our fair share of curious raccoons and pest infestations. I really wanted to just ignore it and go back to sleep, but I knew my dad would be livid if something burrowed into our attic again, so I had to do something. Plus, it wasn't like I was on the brink of falling asleep anyway. I was wide awake. So without much thought, I threw my covers off, jumped out of bed, and started making my way to the garage. From there, I grabbed one of my dad's heavy-duty flashlights and walked back through the house to the back door. My room sits on the first floor near the back of the house where the roof is the lowest, so I figured I'd check over there first. I made it to the spot outside my bedroom window and started sweeping the flashlight beam across the roof. I didn't see anything up there, so I sighed and figured the animal had crawled to a different part of the roof in the time it had taken me to get outside. I started walking around the house, trying my best to illuminate as much of the roof as possible. All I really needed to do was scare the animal away, which would be pretty easy if I could just find the damn thing. I was standing near the front of the house where the roof is nearly twice as high when I spotted something shift in the corner of my flashlight beam. With one quick flick of my wrist, I shot the flashlight toward the spot I had seen movement and nearly passed out. There, standing on the roof, was a person.
I'm sorry. There was a what? You said there was someone standing on the roof? I'm sorry. That's... No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I would not be going... First of all, if I hear something scratching outside, there's no way I'm going to check it outside. I'm just going to go back to sleep. I'm just going to stay inside and be like, you know what? I'll either call the police or... I don't know, but I'm not checking that.
Not an animal, not a pack of animals, but a fully grown human being. There was a naked human being standing on my roof, frozen in the beam of my flashlight. I screamed. I couldn't help it, and as soon as I did, the person on the roof started moving, almost like they were allergic to the light of my flashlight. I tried to trace their movements with the light, but they were absurdly fast. Until that moment, I didn't know it was possible to move so fast barefoot, let alone on the loose shingles of an uneven roof. They started making their way back to where my room was, and I sprinted around the house to intercept them. I don't even know what I was thinking. I should have just ran back inside, but there was some deep instinct in me that prevented me from backing off. I yelled for my dad as I ran, hoping he'd be able to get outside in time to help me ward off or restrain the psycho on our roof. I made it to the back of the house just in time to see the person preparing to jump off the roof. My first thought was that there was no way. There was absolutely no way a person could jump off that roof without suffering serious injuries, even from...
I'm sorry. I'm trying to... Give me 2 seconds. I'm trying to get something to work on my computer, and I was a little distracted. But I managed to hear that there is a man on your roof, and then the man... Sorry, you said a naked man, and then the man proceeds... He's on the roof. He ain't Santa Claus, but he's up on the roof, and then all of a sudden... the man jumps off of the roof. Are you serious? Okay, none of my hotkeys are working. So... What do you mean the man? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. Because my computer's not working. So let me take a break 1 second. Okay, we're back. I have no idea what just happened. 1 second. I have no idea what just happened. But one of my systems wasn't working, so I couldn't get anything to work, and I needed it to work so I can make this episode better and know how to edit it later. So, let's get back to the episode. I forgot what we were talking about. So let me just refresh it for myself. You might hear some refresh for you. But we're going to reset it because I don't know what I was talking about. Let's start the episode.
My flashlight. I tried to trace their movements with the light, but they were absurdly fast. Until that moment, I didn't know it was possible to move so fast barefoot, let alone on the loose shingles of an uneven roof. They started making their way back to where my room was, and I sprinted around the house to intercept them. I don't even know what I was thinking. I should have just ran back inside, but there was some deep instinct in me that prevented me from backing off. I yelled for my dad as I ran, hoping he'd be able to get outside in time to help me ward off or restrain the psycho on our roof.
Okay, so that's actually good that you had like some parents with you there, because most of the stories that I hear, there's no parents with them there, and so that's even more scary. And like not even like a parent, but someone else with you. Like some of the stories that I hear from Mr. Nightmare, they're like, I was alone. I was home alone. I'm like, oh crap. Well, you're done. So, because there's no way you're gonna make it if you're just by yourself. So,
Get to the back of the house.
Well, there's a chance. I'll give you that.
Just in time to see the person preparing to jump off the roof. My first thought was that there was no way. There was absolutely no way a person could jump off that roof without suffering serious injury.
The naked man was gonna jump off the roof. Are you serious? There's no way that naked man. No. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry. If that's happening to me, I'll probably just laugh at that moment. I'll laugh and I don't know. I'll just probably be laughing and then myself. So.
Even from that lower point, surely they'd have to find another way down.
Yeah.
But without hesitation, the person jumped.
They did it. They jumped off of the roof. That's hilarious. Okay.
Slamming into the concrete with a deafening thump.
Okay, so the naked man was on your roof, and then he jumped off the roof, and then he fell onto the concrete with a thump. You know what he sounded afterwards? That was him screaming for his life. Anyway.
The shock of what I was seeing had me frozen in place at that point.
Me too.
I couldn't even process what was going on because of how insane it was that someone had actually just jumped off our roof. I don't know how he didn't shatter every bone in his legs. My dazed shock only lasted a split second, but that was enough. The person immediately got up off the paver stones and charged toward me, tackling.
I'm sorry. Naked man on the roof. Jumps off of your roof. After he jumps off of your roof, he then proceeds to fall onto the ground, has a loud thump, probably injures himself, and then he says, "You know what? I want you," and charges at you. Are you? Okay, I don't know. That's scary. I'm sorry. That's dumb.
To the ground. He started clawing at my eyes, almost like he was trying to rip my face off.
Clawing at his eyes.
I screamed and kicked, but I couldn't get him off me. He was grunting and spitting, and there was no logical explanation for how someone like that could be so strong. I started feeling blood pouring down my face, and in that moment, I thought I was gonna die. But then, over the sound of my own screaming, I heard the back door burst open. Seconds later, my dad was pulling the person off of me, cursing and yelling like it was life or death. I got up off the ground just in time to see that psycho breaking free of my dad's grasp, completely covered in my blood. Instead of continuing to attack me or my dad, he ran to the edge of our yard, scaled our backyard fence, and disappeared into the darkness. My dad and I stood there in shock while the sounds of his footsteps crashing through the forest faded into the distance. I'll fast forward through the rest. I had to go to the hospital that night. My dad almost crashed just trying to get me there. I had lost a ton of blood, and the doctors had to give me all sorts of shots to prevent me from getting any infections or diseases that guy might have had. It was a nightmare. The one saving grace was that my mouth was basically untouched, so my teeth didn't need to be re-examined. The police were useless, not like they could have done much anyway. They said searching the woods would be unfeasible given how vast it was, and insisted that simple security cameras would have prevented the whole thing. My dad later discovered that the person on the roof had been trying to dig into our attic, just like an animal would. Ironically, it wasn't my dad or me who was the most affected. It was my mom. She cried about this incident so many times, and she was actually the one who went ahead and upped our home security. I still have no explanation for what happened that night. Who that guy was, where he had come from, and how he had even found our house are just a few of the 1,000 questions about that night that I fear will never be answered.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You had your wisdom tooth taken out, and then all of a sudden, you're having trouble falling asleep, and it's one day, it's about 4 a.m. or whatever, and you wake up, and you're like, it's hot in here, let me open a window. So you open a window, and then you hear footsteps, and then you hear scratching. And then you say, you know what? I'm going to go check. Maybe it's Billy. Maybe Billy's outside. He wants to catch up at 4 in the morning. Are you serious? So you go check. You get a flashlight just because you want to be able to see Billy, right? So you get a flashlight. You get your dad's heavy-duty flashlight. You go check. And it's a naked man on your roof. Naked man on your roof. And so then the man decides to jump off the roof. Right? Jumps off of the roof and then says, I want you, and charges at you. Oh my god. And then starts scratching you, starts scratching at your eyes, like goes off at you. What the hell? What in the actual hell? He just starts going at you. Why? What is this man doing? Number one. Number two, what the hell? That was the weirdest story I think I've ever heard. But it's Mr. Nightmare, so that's how these stories are. Because I'm not okay. I've never in my life would I think I would hear a story like this. But that's crazy. That is actually crazy. So I don't know. I don't know. That's crazy. Okay. I don't know. I have no words. I don't know what I would do because you're getting scratched up. You're losing blood and everything. I don't know what I would do. Anyway, we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back with more stories. And welcome back. We're back with more stories here for you on the 2 Cents Podcast. We're just listened to one story that was crazy weird. That was a very crazy story. So we're gonna go ahead and continue on with story number 2. That first story was something. A man jumping off of a naked man. I forgot he was naked. I forgot to mention that he was naked. A naked man on the roof, jumping off of the roof onto concrete, slamming down, charging at the person, and starts scratching up at the person to the point that the person is bleeding. That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, if you're just joining us right now, you probably missed a whole lot of the story. But yeah, that was a very, very interesting story. Let's start off with the next story that I have not listened to it at all. I listened to the first part of the first story, but never the part where he jumped off the roof or that he was naked. Just that I stopped it where they said, I found someone on the roof, and that's it. But the whole naked part was like, okay, that threw me off. Let's go to the next story.
My house is a very unique design. Well, I call it unique, but I bet a lot of people would call it weird instead.
Unique New York. I can't do that. Unique New York. I can't do it. I can't do it. I thought I could do it, but I can't.
And actually, they have. The vast majority of friends I've hosted have all said so. Even a handful of girls I've snuck in while my parents were away.
You done what with girls? Okay, sorry.
As much as I'd love to make things easy for myself and just attach a bunch of photos of the house, I don't think my parents would appreciate that too much. So instead, I'll just tell you the important details. As it pertains to the story, there's really only one you need to know. You know how most houses have a porch or a walkway leading up to the front door, and there's usually some sort of covering above the door, maybe called a door canopy? Well,
probably.
My house basically has a covered hallway that you have to walk through before entering the actual interior.
Huh.
Imagine your own front door, part of the house on either side, and then push the front door entrance back, into the house so to speak. It's essentially like walking in between two parts of the house without even being inside. This is all to say that my bedroom is on the first floor, right next to the external hallway that leads to the front door. If I stand up and look out the window next to my bed, I can actually see anyone standing at the front door, but they'd have their back to me. Hopefully that description makes sense.
Okay, I kind of can tell. It's kind of like, I think I can picture it. It's kind of like if you have a garage and you have, you know how garages usually stick out more out of the house, and so then on the same wall, like one of the walls of the garage, you have the front door, and then there's a window, so you can see. There's a window that faces, and you can kind of see your front yard, and then also the entrance of the home. It kind of makes sense, I think. But I don't. I think I know where this is going. But also the way you described it as a hall, so a weird entrance, because you're making it seem like the entrance is like 100 to 200 feet away from the hall. It's like 100. It's like a dark 200 foot wall hallway that you have to walk through. That just makes it sound a little bit weird. So I don't know, but go ahead and continue.
I developed a habit at a really young age of peeping out that window whenever a delivery person or guest would ring the doorbell. It was like
Okay. Amazon's right there. You're just like, hi, I'm Billy.
having a little hidden camera that I could use to check who was there before stepping in full view of the door.
Wait, what?
When I'm
Sorry. He said he was the camera, or that he actually had a camera?
peeping out that window whenever a delivery person or guest would ring the doorbell. It was like having a little hidden camera that I could use to check who was there before stepping in full view of the door.
I don't know about hidden camera because it's actually you, and they would probably look at you. So it's like, imagine you're waiting for someone to open the door, and then you just look to the left or to the right or whatever, and then there's just a face. Oh. There's just a face right there that's looking at you. I would be terrified. I would poop my pants.
What I'm about to tell you happened just a few months ago, at the
Okay.
very beginning of the summer.
Okay.
My parents were out of town for the week, so I decided to take advantage of the situation and let my girlfriend Anna sleep over for
Sorry.
a few days. Normally, my strict and traditional parents would be very opposed to anything like that, but what they didn't know wouldn't hurt them. Plus, they'd met Anna a million times, so it wasn't like I was bringing an unwelcome stranger into our home.
Mm-hmm.
The first night was relatively uneventful, just a chill movie night with some snacks and a few glasses of wine.
Ooh, wine. How I love thee.
We went to sleep at a reasonable hour and went for a dip in the pool the following.
What's a reasonable hour? Because for me, a reasonable hour is 5 in the morning, right? That's when I don't have to go to work. When I have to go to work, a reasonable hour would be 5 in the morning. My sleep schedule is bad. I got better at it though. I have this app. This is not a commercial for the app, by the way. I'm not sponsored by this, but if they want to sponsor me, I wouldn't say no. Because it's a very good app that I started using. It's called Rise. I kept seeing a lot of like things on Instagram, like to download it, and it's basically like, you want to fix your sleep schedule. I think my phone must have heard me when I said that I barely sleep, or that, and then Siri was like, we can tell by looking at the sleep app and know that you have not been sleeping well. So let's go ahead and recommend you this app that will help you out. And it did. Because it basically does something where it tells you what your sleep debt is, which is basically, if I say that I want to sleep 8 hours a day and I sleep under that time, it adds to my sleep debt. But if I sleep over that time, every minute and hour that I go over that reduces my sleep debt. So when I first started, I think the app, the week that I started with, it was over the summer, so I didn't have school or anything, just work. So my sleep debt was probably like around 14 or something like that. And then it was about 14 hours of sleep debt that I had. And so then I was able to quickly get rid of it. And then I started back with school, and then it got to the point where it was like 20 hours of sleep debt. And then right now, I think this morning, yesterday I was supposed to edit something. And then for some reason, I found out last minute that, oh no, this was Tuesday, never mind. No, I was going to edit something, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go to sleep. So I went to sleep early yesterday. I went to sleep at 1 p.m., which is not really early, but for me it's early. Because I was going to go to sleep at 2. I was like, I'll edit something until 2 in the morning, and then I'll go to sleep. But I was like, you know what, it's 1 o'clock. I don't want to start I'm going to start editing right now, and there's no way I'm going to be done editing by 2. So I was supposed to start editing before that, and then I totally forgot about it, or totally got distracted with something else. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go to sleep. So I was able to reduce my sleep time to 8 hours. It was about 14 hours, I think, yesterday, and I was able to reduce it to 8 hours. I don't know actually how it works, because might have not been 14 hours then. I've been kind of sleeping longer the past few days, because I started work later and then school, everything, so I've been sleeping a little more, which is good, because I need to sleep, and I need to reduce that sleep time, that sleep debt, which right now is at 8 hours. So hopefully I'll bring it down tomorrow. But by the time that you're seeing this, my sleep debt probably might be even more higher than it is right now. So I'll enjoy my 8 hours of sleep debt for the next few hours, because that's probably all it's gonna last. Let's continue on with the video.
Following morning. I'm not really much of a party person, and neither is Anna, so we were more than happy to just spend some time together relaxing, playing games, and watching TV. The second night was when things went down. It was
They went down as in... Oh, sorry.
probably sometime around midnight. We were pillow talking in the dark, about to go to sleep, when I heard something from outside.
It was Billy.
It sounded like a screeching, or something being dragged. I shushed Anna and listened, trying to figure out what I was hearing. It sounded like it was coming from the driveway, which is off to the side of the house. That alarmed me, mostly because it meant the sound was coming from really close to the actual house. I listened a little while longer, and realized it was the sound of one of my dad's trash cans being moved around. He sometimes keeps them in front of the garage, and I was pretty positive I had seen a couple of them out there earlier that day. My first thought was that he hadn't fully emptied them and some animal was poking around looking for scraps or food or something.
Yeah.
Still though, animal or not, hearing things moving around in your driveway is creepy, especially when you're the only one home and it's too dark to see anything.
Well, you're not the only one home. Your friend Anna's there, so... I don't know. I don't know if you're the only one home, but your friend Anna's there.
I told Anna to stay put, telling her that
See? Told you. She was there too. She was there all along. So... Right? She was there to help you out.
I was going to go shoo away the raccoon or other animal that was rummaging through the trash. Then I calmly walked out of my room and over to the front door. I flicked on the switch for the exterior lights, but they didn't illuminate the driveway enough for me to see anything, just the front yard and the porch. So reluctantly, I opened the door and walked outside, hoping my presence would be enough to scare off whatever was out there. I stood on the porch for a few seconds, waiting to hear scampering or see an animal run across the yard, but nothing happened. In fact, even the sound of the trash can had stopped. I figured there was a slim chance that whatever had been there had already run away, but concluded it was unlikely since I had been watching and listening the whole time. So even more reluctantly, I clicked on my phone flashlight and started walking down the front steps toward the driveway.
So yeah, like you said, you thought that the animal went away, or whatever it was went away because you went outside. No, they're just hiding from you. They're just hiding from you so that they can come back and, I don't know, tickle your butt or something. I don't know. They're probably gonna come and get you. I don't know. Have you ever seen have you not seen, what's it called? Halloween, is it Friday the 13th? I think it's Friday the 13th, where every time the people in the movie are having sex, so they get killed. So that's what you get for being with Anna.
As I got closer, I realized that one of the trash cans had indeed been messed with. Two of them were sitting against the garage door, but one of them was completely overturned, with its contents scattered across the driveway. I groaned, knowing I was going to have to clean up the mess. I should mention that I didn't see anything out there, even after approaching, so I figured the animal had slunked away without me noticing. Just to be completely sure, I shined my flashlight all around the trash cans, but there was still nothing there. So that confirmed it. Without much more thought, I started picking stuff up from the driveway and throwing it back in the trash can. After I finished with that, I went back inside, opened the garage door, moved the trash cans inside, and locked it. I didn't want to run the risk of something returning later and waking me up. Then I went back to bed. Anna was still awake, but barely. I could tell she was about to fall asleep, so I gave her a gentle kiss on the forehead and tried to get comfortable on my side of the bed without disturbing her too much. I was in that in-between phase of consciousness and unconsciousness, where you're half dreaming but can pull yourself out of it if you concentrate, and that's when I heard something. This gentle tapping noise, like metal on glass. I was convinced it was part of the half-dream I was having, but something about it was just the slightest bit too unsettling. So instead of succumbing to exhaustion and drifting off into sleep, I opened my eyes and looked around the room.
I think I know what it is. Remember how he said that the window was right next to the door? Or that he had a window in his room? I think the man, or the person outside, has a hammer and is banging it on the roof. I mean, the roof. What am I talking about? Not the roof. Not the window. The man is. They're banging it on the window. They're gonna kill him. They're on the window.
Sure enough, the tapping sound didn't stop. I froze. It hadn't been in my own head. It was coming from somewhere in the room. I didn't move a muscle. I just listened, trying to pinpoint exactly where it was emanating from, or even what it was. After a few seconds, I realized it wasn't coming from inside the room at all, even though it sounded so clear. That could only mean one thing, though. It was coming from just outside my window. I forced myself out of bed, stood up slowly, and peeked behind the curtain of my bedroom window. In the minimal light from outside, I could see the outline of a person standing at the front door, with their back to me. It was terrifying.
Oh god.
I looked for a little while longer, and realized they were lightly tapping on the glass over and over and over again, as if expecting someone to answer the door. But that was insane. It was past midnight, and none of the house lights were on. I tried to make out more details about the person, but I couldn't see anything distinctive without more light. As I was standing there watching them, I noticed them start to turn around. Without thinking, I ducked under the light just in time, and I felt my heart start racing. I must have stayed crouched behind the window for a full minute, terrified that they had seen me. I didn't want to look again, but I had to. With a deep breath, I mustered up the courage to take another look out the window. Slowly, I stood back up, peeled the curtain back, and instantly regretted it.
Oh god.
There, just 2 inches from the glass, was a face staring back at me.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I was getting chills. Even right now, I'm still getting chills. Like, that is absolutely scary. That is absolutely scary. You have a window, and they're tapping on the window, and you wake up, and luckily you have curtains. You peel back the curtains, and someone's standing at the door, and then, all of a sudden, they look at you. And then you duck to make sure that they don't see you. And you're like, hopefully they didn't see me, right? So you just start slowly standing back up. And then when you look at them, or you slowly stand back up and you look at the window, you see a face. That would be scary. That would terrify me. So, let's continue on.
I yelled and recoiled from the window, yanking the curtain shut again. Back at me. I yelled and recoiled from the window, yanking the curtain shut again. Even though we were only face to face for a split second, I was able to make out that it was a man with shriveled looking skin, like someone whose face was melting away. As I fell back onto the bed, still yelling uncontrollably, Anna woke up. I screamed that there was someone outside, then made sure my bedroom door was locked before grabbing my phone and calling the police. The cops showed up a little over 10 minutes later. Anna and I stayed locked in my room the entire time. I really wanted to run to the front door to see where the creep had gone, but Anna was clutching onto my arm and wouldn't let me. When the police finally...
Oh, sure. Anna was the one that wouldn't let you go. Sure, buddy, sure. She was the one that didn't want to let you go. I think it was you. But also, the guy was like, you said the guy was like, it felt like the guy's face was melting off. Like, and not felt like, but like, it seemed like they were burned. Like, that's even more scary. But no, yeah, it was definitely Anna, quote unquote Anna, that was making you scared. I mean, that was scared and holding on to you really close. I wouldn't let you go outside. We'll go with that.
I screamed that there was someone outside, then made sure my bedroom door was locked before grabbing my phone and calling the police. The cops showed up a little over 10 minutes later. Anna and I stayed locked in my room the entire time. I really wanted to run to the front door to see where the creep had gone, but Anna was clutching onto my arm and wouldn't let me.
Sure.
When the police finally arrived, I let them inside and told them everything I had seen. They did a quick sweep of the house, and with my help, we confirmed that there was no sign of forced entry, and the entire house was locked up. That put me at ease, but it still didn't explain why that guy was creeping around my house and where he had gone. Eventually, after walking the perimeter with their flashlights and poking around the yard, they told us they didn't find anything unusual. One of them told me to call back should I see that guy again. Then they left. The rest of the week passed without incident. I ended up telling my parents, who, to my surprise, didn't seem overly concerned about it. We don't exactly live in a sketchy neighborhood, so I was surprised that they were being so nonchalant about the whole thing. To be fair, though, their reaction made me feel like I was overreacting a little bit. I mean, what had really happened? Some homeless guy had crept around our house? The more I thought about it, the more I realized I was making a big deal out of nothing. But if that were the case, I probably wouldn't be writing this. The reason I'm writing this now is because for the past few nights, I've woken up randomly in the middle of the night to strange noises coming from outside my window.
Oh God.
Not my trash cans moving around like what I had heard before, but different sounds. I told my dad about them, and he's actually planning on installing some security cameras around the perimeter of our house. But still, I can't help but feel like that guy showing up at my house wasn't a one-off thing. If anything else happens, I'll be sure to send a follow-up.
Yeah. So there's no way that the guy just was like, you know what, let me go tap on the window, and then is like, I'm bored. I'm never coming back to this house again. No, yeah, that guy's definitely coming back and knocking at your window again, so be very careful. Security cameras definitely would work. I don't know if that's going to protect you, though. It's going to record if something happens, but that's as much as it's going to do. You know, if someone wants to actually do something to you, cameras are not going to stop them. It should, but, you know, some people that won't stop them. So it's good to get them so you can see what's going on, and then you can finally figure out what it is. But that's terrifying. Like, the person knew that you were alone, or you and your girlfriend were alone, and went when your parents weren't there, because your parents were on vacation, so they knew about this. Now, my thing is, when the guy mentioned about the security cameras, I'm thinking now, what if the man is watching them during the day? Like, what if the guy, the one that was knocking on the window, what if they're watching them, the family, throughout the day? Because how would the man know that there was no one home? I don't know. That was terrifying. That's another one. That one gave me chills. That one was giving me chills, because that's terrifying. I would not want to. I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know what I would want to do. I would probably not be able to sleep. I would not be able to sleep again, I think. So, that's definitely scary. Anyway, we're going to take another break, and we're going to come back to, I think this is the last story. So we're going to come back right now. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the 2 Cents Podcast. Thank you for continuing here with us with our last story of today's episode. The last story that we just heard, or the previous one that we just heard, was definitely very scary. The guy knocking on the window, and then I don't know, that was just terrifying to me. So I would not be able to sleep there ever again, or probably at all. So that would be scary. Let's go to the final story of today. We're getting ready for that one. This is going to be the final story of today. So let's listen to that one, and then hopefully it's also really scary, because it is spooky season. Happy spooky season, by the way, in case I forgot to say that.
What you're about to hear is an experience that nearly made me lose my mind. It's still something that I think about quite often, if I'm being honest, but I've been able to recover a bit in the months since it's happened. The whole story is pretty quick, so I'll get right into it. I'm a single guy in my mid-30s. I live alone with no pets in a small one-story house. The house is really modest. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a living room, kitchen, dining room, and a tiny garage. That's it.
Okay.
Life is fantastic. Because of my profession, I can work on my own time and don't have to answer to anyone, whether that be a girlfriend, a parent, or an employer. Freedom has always been an imperative part of my life, so I've done my best to maximize it wherever possible. I know a lot of people are different, and a lot of people might actually judge me for my quote, immature lifestyle, but everyone has different priorities and preferences, so as long as no one judges me, I won't judge them. The excess freedom is definitely tethered to its own set of drawbacks though. I've developed some bad habits that I'm sure some people would frown upon. One of them is my sleep schedule, which is god-awful.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, I'm most productive at late
Okay, the story was going to go to say I'm more productive in my late hours. I know that way too well. That's very familiar to me.
hours of the night, so I often find myself staying up until dawn and sleeping into the afternoon. It's just...
That's me. Yeah, because on Sundays, I usually will sleep, whatever time I sleep, I usually wake up at 5 p.m., which is not good.
how my body functions, and until I'm absolutely forced to, I don't see a reason to change anything. I was up really late one night. I'm talking past 3 a.m. late. I was sitting at my desk
Past 3 a.m.? That's light work.
getting some work done on my computer. I was in the zone, not even listening to music. Imagine yourself at peak hours. That's the kind of groove I was in. The room was dead silent, and I was alone with my thoughts, the sound of my keyboard, and my work. And then, bam, out of nowhere, the silence was interrupted by the sound of footsteps pounding down the hallway towards my bedroom.
Oh, God. No. Pounding. No, thank you. Footsteps pounding. Oh, God. Okay.
Followed by 3 or 4 bangs on the bedroom door.
No, thank you. No. You know, we're going to leave the story here. We're going to end it here. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. No way. That's 3 in the morning. Inside your house. You're inside your house. You're in your bedroom and you hear banging or pounding footsteps coming at you. At your door. And then you hear at your bedroom door. No, thank you. I'm good. Thank you for the offer. I know you're here to talk to me about my car's extended warranty, but we're not gonna. It's 3 in the morning. Come back tomorrow. Come back during daylight hours, please.
Like deafening bangs. The type of bangs you'd expect the police trying to barge in.
And number one, he lives alone. He lives alone, right? Because I'm like, maybe it's one of his family members. It's like something's going on, and they need help, right? But no, he lives alone.
To a drug den would make. I shot up from my chair so fast I banged my knee on the desk.
I would too. Imagine it's 3 in the morning and you hear knocking on the door. No, thank you.
And knocked my monitor over. I was just so shocked, it caught me completely off guard. Just imagine being in your own house at 3 a.m., alone, and complete silence just gets...
Exactly. It's like, if you're listening to this podcast, it's middle of the day, maybe at night, because you want to hear some scary stories at night, and then, all of a sudden, it's just quiet, you're relaxed, you're listening to the podcast, you have it at full volume because I'm talking really quiet, you want to be able to hear me, and all of a sudden, right? That's basically what that person felt. That's terrifying. Okay. That is actually terrifying. Let's continue listening to the story.
Interrupted by banging on your door. It was and still is the most terrifying thing that has ever happened to me.
I would think so. I mean, 3 in the morning, you're by yourself, and then you hear banging? No, thank you.
Standing up was a pure reaction. I was completely frozen after that. I had my eyes fixated on the door, dreading the moment I knew was coming. The door bursting open and someone barging into my room. Me having to fight a complete stranger in pitch black darkness. But it never came. I didn't hear anything else, not even the sounds of footsteps retreating from the door. It was like I had imagined it, but I was 100% positive I hadn't. I don't know how long I stood there, but I physically could not force myself to move. It was like sleep paralysis, except I hadn't been dreaming. And then, finally, I heard the sounds of footsteps quickly walking back down the hall. So someone had been there.
I just got chills. So you're saying that you hear this loud noise, right? The loud banging noise. And then you stand up to figure out what's going on, and you're frozen, and you're sitting by your table. You're sitting by your bed. You're just like on your bed, looking at the door, waiting for the door to, not open up or whatever. And you're waiting there for a minute, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Like a long time, right? And you don't hear any sound of the person leaving. So you're like, maybe I imagined it. Maybe it's not true. Maybe there was no one there. Maybe something fell down or something. And then, after a long time passed, you hear the footsteps of the person leaving. They waited that long to leave. I don't know what this is, but I'm terrified. I am terrified. What I would do, probably going forward, if I ever live alone, and I have an apartment by myself, I have a house by myself, I'm putting cameras everywhere, and I'm putting a monitor in each room wherever I am. And, well, maybe not. I'll put cameras inside of the house. So I'll put a camera outside of the bedroom door, right? So I can see who's at the door. In case something like this happens, I can see if someone's outside or not. And then if someone is, 911, what's your emergency? I'm gonna die. So
I don't know why, but hearing those footsteps again unlocked my brain. Without thinking, I grabbed an empty beer bottle off my desk, ran to the door, and started chasing after whoever had broken into my home. I didn't even try to be quiet. I screamed at the top of my lungs like a lunatic, hoping that would give me the extra adrenaline I needed. I ran through the entire house, screaming, but I never found anyone. My house isn't that big. There aren't many places someone could hide, but even after checking every room, there was no one there. All the doors and windows were locked too, which was even more confusing. My bout of confidence was completely drained after that, and I felt fear start flooding back in. I sprinted back to my room, locked the door, and called the police. In the time it took the police to arrive, I listened to my surroundings in complete silence, but never heard anything. When the police finally showed up, we searched the house together, but found nothing. One of the officers tried to convince me that whoever had been there had left, but I insisted that everything had been locked up. He told me I had probably overlooked something, and it took everything in me not to curse him out right there. I know for a fact that nothing had been unlocked, but that didn't explain how that person had gotten into and out of my house. Unless I had imagined it, but I know I didn't. For the next week, I was a psychological mess. My brain refused to accept that I had imagined something so vivid, but I couldn't conceive of a possible way that that person had gotten into and out of my house. I'm much better now, but there was a time where I had trouble sleeping, eating, working, everything. Even now, the only explanation I can think of is that I somehow didn't notice an unlocked window or door in my house. Still though, why anyone would crash through my house just to run away is a complete mystery to me.
that is terrifying. I didn't think we can top the second story. So my theory too is that maybe you forgot to lock a window or a door before, and so the person was able to get in, and then they ran out that same window or door and locked it. So it has to be a door. It wasn't a Yeah, it had to be a door, right? They locked. It was a window. It could have been a window, but like it was needed to be something that they could unlock and then close it, and it would stay locked to the point where you won't notice it, right? That's my theory. That's what I think happened. That the person came in through something that was already unlocked, and then as they were running out and they left out of the house, they closed the door or whatever it was, the window, on their way out, so it looked like it was closed, meaning that someone could have gotten in. But also, they just went in to run inside and left. Yeah, I would have asked the police. I would have been like, do you have like a, UV light or something? Or can you check prints to see if there is footsteps on the, on the floor of the hallway, showing that they went into the house and ran against? Or there should be some fingerprints or something on the door where they were banging on it, right? there has to be some evidence of someone actually doing that in order for it to be true, right? If it was true, if it actually happened, which I think it did happen, there would be evidence of someone knocking on the door, evidence of someone running on the hall. So I would have asked them, like, can you do that just for peace of mind myself, right? And then also after that, immediately the next day, buy cameras around the whole house, record everything. If you need to, if you're gonna be working late nights, put a camera outside your bedroom door, and then put a TV or something so that you can monitor live that camera outside of your bedroom door, so you can see 24/7. Whenever you just look at that TV or whatever, it'll be showing a picture of what's outside the door. So if something like that happens, you can see that, right? Maybe even have access to your cameras from the inside of your room too, so you can see cameras everywhere, so you can see if the person walks away or whatever. That is scary. Damn. Okay. I don't know how to react. That is terrifying. I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. These stories were good. These were all scary stories. These were all good. So I think that's gonna do it for us. That was the last story for today. That's gonna do it for us for this episode. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, there might be more episodes this week, so make sure you check those out. If not, I will see you here whenever I see you. But yeah, that's gonna be the last story. So thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of the 2 Cents Podcast. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you rate us on I think it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Let them know what you thought of this podcast episode. Send it to your friends if you enjoyed it. Let people know. And so hopefully you enjoyed my 2 cents on these stories. And if you want me to give my 2 cents on your stories, or if you have other internet stories that you found, you can go ahead and go to the description down below. There should be some Google Forms that you can fill out for two things. You can fill out a Google form if you have your own story. If you want me to give 2 cents on your story, you can go ahead and there's a Google form for that. Or if you want me to give 2 cents on the story that you found, you can also submit your stories there. So make sure to check that out. You can also follow us on social media down below. And there's also going to be a link to this video down below as well, so you can watch the full video down below. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool video. Mr. Nightmare is one of my favorite YouTubers in terms of this stuff. I would often listen to him, and I haven't listened to him in a long time, but I do miss it. So I was like, this is perfect for Halloween right now. And so we might see more stories throughout the year from Mr. Nightmare. It's a very good channel to like listen to these stories. There's definitely going to be, after I'm done recording this video, I'm going to record another video also from Mr. Nightmare that I think, if everything goes great, it's going to come out on Halloween. And it's going to be Halloween scary stories. So we're going to listen to those. It's spooky season. Spooky season's almost over, sadly, and I didn't upload as much videos as I thought I was going to do. I think so next year I'm going to have to go all out and do more scary videos. And we're going to have to find some Reddit stories or something that are scary or something. Because we need to do that. Maybe I might even do some more of those in November, because it's still kind of spooky season, right before Thanksgiving or something, so we can get some more spooky season episodes. But yeah, if you have any stories, you can go ahead and submit those on below. But other than that, I'll see you guys back here hopefully tomorrow. If there is another episode, I'll see you back here tomorrow. If there's not another episode, I guess I'll end up seeing you next week. But I'll definitely see you here next week, so make sure to check out that. And thank you so much for watching this. Again, if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, rate us, whatever you need to do. And I'll see you right back here next week. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Stay safe. And that was my 2 cents. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to 2 Cents Podcast.